How's it going, fellas, and welcome to the channel where I kick back, relax and talk video games. My career this year, I don't know with it, fellas. To be all honest, is it just a mode just to grind and get badges and to grind the road to 99? Yes, it really is. There's no real unique story. Yeah, there's the prelude, and that's what I want to talk about first. Should they make a prelude in the next 2K? No. They waste too much time and too much effort where that effort could be used in generating story while you're in the NBA, especially your first season. Well, there's not enough story generated when you're in the actual NBA. Yeah, you get shoe deals and all, but you get that year after year. Shoe deals are becoming like the draft. We get it year after year and we just don't want to see it anymore, but that's what you have to have in the game because it's product placement. But year after year, that's all we get, and that's all the cutscenes are this year, are just product placement. Other than showing celebrities, it's either product placement or celebrities. Or NBA players, sorry. Like, it's no actual story. Like, they talk about the MyCareer, like, don't get me wrong, the prelude wasn't that bad. But the actual MyCareer story is absolutely abysmal. It's as bad as 2K18 in my opinion. It really is. Like, everybody talks about beef fresh, but then you got Shaq talking about barbecue chicken. Like, what's going on? We need that sort of effort in those cutscenes, not at the start, because once you get in the NBA, that story becomes irrelevant. You don't even talk about that story in any way, shape or form. There might be an interview here and there where they go, "Oh, you played in China? How was that?" Like, that's it. You don't see any of them from the story. You don't hear from them. You get barbecue chicken alert with Shaq, and you get product placement thrown in your face with Gatorade and Nike and Jordan and Foot Locker and all that sort of stuff. That's all that the cutscenes are there for in 2K19's MyCareer, is just for product placement. There's no story at all. It's bullshit. And it needs to stop. They need to stop focusing so much on driving the prelude and actually using that effort in driving the first year of your MyCareer. And it's not like that they don't know how to do it, because they did it for years. They did it in 2K14. Was that the first one? The first 2 or 3 before the Spike Lee. Spike Lee is where it just went downhill from there. Don't get me wrong. The Spike Lee and even the 2K19 prelude isn't that bad. Like, it's not a bad story, but it's just way too short from the context of a 10-year career, and you've got 2 hours of cutscenes, and then the rest of it is just filled up with crap. Like, it really is. So the next thing I want to talk about is changes that I want to see in 2K20, but more than likely that they'll never do it. No more VC. We should be rewarded and progression for what we do well. If we shoot a lot of 3-pointers that game, we should get 3-pointers up. We should actually be rewarded for what we do well and actually be punished for what we do bad. So if we do miss a lot of 3-point shots, we actually get deducted. We actually get rewarded for making a lot of shots. Or if we dunk it a lot of times, we get +5 to our dunks after that game, or +1 or +0.3 or whatever. Just our progression in the game affects our stats, so it actually forces us to play differently, but still unlocking our attributes. So we can't just keep doing pick and roll popper, pick and roll popper, pick and roll popper, just to get our rewards over and over and get those attributes. If you force players to play differently and create variety in the game, it's better for everybody. Variety is key. Trust me, MyCareer is just so mind-numbing this year, and last year, and even the year before. Time and time again, you're just forced to do the same thing over and over again. The cutscenes are mediocre, so you don't really stay for the cutscenes. So what are you really staying there for? This mode is only created for a shell of the online, so people have a quicker way to rank up. That's all that this mode is now. It's getting ridiculous. They've killed this game mode for the road to 99, and it's really hurt it. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. And I've talked about it and talked about it. They've got to separate the MyPark from the MyCareer. It's hurting this mode way too much because the progression in the MyCareer is way faster than the progression in the My Park. So why are you having an offline game affect an online game? It just doesn't make sense to me. And now the online game is actually affecting the offline game, but yet they just decide to keep it. Like the archetype system. Yeah, it's not a bad system if implemented correctly online only. But in offline, it's just bots. They're not going to complain to Mike Wang on Twitter. They're not going to hit Ronnie up in the chat. Just enough is enough. Like, you've got to allow us to have fun with this game and create our own variety. Because playing MyCareer is mind-numbingly boring. Like, I try and play different ways. I create different archetypes to create variety. But yet it still feels very, very stale. And they need to do something about it, because this VC system, as I said, isn't working. The archetype system isn't working. Having My Park and MyCareer together isn't working. And something needs to be done, and it needs to be done in 2K20. Otherwise, this game is going to be dead and buried, especially the MyCareer. Whether this is one of the higher played modes, I don't know. But at the end of the day, MyCareer will be dead and buried if they don't do something, and something drastically next year for MyCareer. So the next thing I want to talk about is gameplay, and as I said, we all want to be superstars. We don't want to be restricted by archetypes, and that's the biggest problem with the gameplay, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I have too much before. But the next thing I want to talk about is in-game task lists. Look, there should be some games where I've got to score 30 points and get 5 rebounds to unlock a certain cutscene or a certain thing or something like that. You know, give us objectives within the game. Like, what's stopping you from doing this? Create some different variety through objectives and other ways, because that's the biggest problem with MyCareer is just the same gameplay over and over again. It's sort of like my videos, you know what I mean? I talk about the same thing over and over again because it's just like MyCareer. MyCareer, you do the same thing over and over again, so the developers have to create variety. They need to do something about it, because the only reason, as I said before, this mode is played is to grind the road to 99. As a gameplay perspective and a game design perspective, this game is abysmal. It's pathetic. It really is. But people praise this game, and it's really not that good. There's some good signs about it. Don't get me wrong, there's a good base there. But at the end of the day, this game falls very, very short, and it really does hurt it. So the next thing I want to talk about is they have to fix the sliders on higher difficulties. Hall of Fame is a joke. It really is. They don't miss. Like, they'll go on 15-2 runs and shit, and you'll play decent defense. The players on Hall of Fame on the AI are better than the teammates on your team. It's a joke. Something has to be done about the Hall of Fame, because the other game modes or the other difficulties aren't that hard, and you just blow out every team, and it becomes boring. Like, I know you want to create difficulty, but the problem is they don't actually create smarter AI. They just create sliders where they have more % chance of getting the ball off a rebound, or more % chance of getting loose ball success, or getting a jump shot success. That's all that they do. That's the only difference between MyCareer Hall of Fame and MyCareer Rookie, is the sliders. It's a joke. The AI plays exactly the same, but it's just the sliders are more in their favour, so they pull the most outrageous shit out of their asses. It's a joke. Something has to be done about the Hall of Fame, even in 2K19. Like, really, there has to be something done, because it's a joke. It was a joke in 2K18, but I don't know if they did patch anything, but it seemed to get better later in the year, so hopefully they do something about the Hall of Fame system in 2K19 this year, but hopefully they overhaul it in 2K20, because something needs to be done for these Hall of Fame grinders that grind Hall of Fame just like MyCareer. They don't go for a road to 99, just like to kick back, relax and play Hall of Fame like what I do. I just like to play MyCareer for a season. That's all I like to do, and it just makes it really, really hard with the mind-numbing gameplay. And then if you put it on lower difficulties, you just flog teams, but then you put it on Hall of Fame, and it just becomes impossible. Please 2K, do something about the Hall of Fame MyCareer. So the next thing I want to talk about is character development and story. There needs to be better relationships between the player and the coaching staff and the player and his teammates. In 2K15, I think it was, you had one voiced player from every NBA team and you actually had conversations. LeBron and Kevin Durant actually came over my house and tried to recruit me and all sorts of different things. That's when they actually put effort into the game. And that's what they need to do again next year. They need to go back to that one player system where you can actually generate story within the locker room with your players. Maybe one day you're playing bad for a few weeks and you might get talks about being traded and LeBron comes up to you or KD comes up or Russ comes up to you and goes, you're not going to be traded if you play good or whatever, you know. Like, generate a bit of story in the locker room for your teammates, because that's what 2K15 done so well. They generated a relationship between player and teammate, and that's a huge relationship that you can have in a MyCareer. If you can develop a relationship between the player and the teammate, especially if it's a famous player. See, it's not as good when it's Sammy Wells or Orange Juice Man or whatever he was. I can't remember what his name was. If it's actually Kevin Durant or even coaching staff as well. Maybe have some coaching staff. I'm not saying NBA coaches or assistant coaches, but have more of a relationship. The only time you talk to the coaching staff or anything is when you have a little 5-minute talk, or not even 5 minute, 5-second talk, that you're going to get some more minutes, or maybe you got selected for the All-Star game. It's about a 10, 15, 20, maybe 30-second cutscene. And that's all you're getting with your coaching stuff. You have no relationship with your owner, and that's the next thing I want to talk about, is your off-court wheeling and dealings or relationships or whatever. There's got to be more relationships with the owner and the coaching staff and everything like that, because that's a big part. If you're going to be traded, there's got to be talks of you being traded and things like that. If you go out for a night of the party like what you did in 2K14 and then you came back and you had too many drinks and you missed practice, you got punished. Things like that. There's so many off-court interactions that they're really lacking now. They're the things that we like. We like to be rewarded and punished for the actions that we choose. That's what made the MyCareers back in the day. It was like in 2K14 when you had this movie guy. I don't know if he was an old friend, I can't remember. But there was a big decision whether you could give him money to go fund a B grade short film or whatever it is, or you could go and not give him money, but then you give him money and he rips you off, and the film's a sucker, and it's a dismal film, and you get ripped off. Or there's a time when in 2K14 when you got to choose between your manager, the young bloke that's grown up with you the whole time, or the new flashbang agent that can get you all the money, get you all the girls and everything like that. Who do you choose? Do you stay loyal or do you go for the money? They're the decisions that we've got to make in 2K. Not what shoe deal are we going to sign with, or who do we want to sign with, Foot Locker or Gatorade? Like, come on, man. We want these decisions to have an impact on our career. We don't want them just to say, oh, we've got Nike now so we can wear Nike shoes. We want it to have actual effect. We want it to have effect in the game. One thing that they did do well is when in the media this year, you can actually do fan or teammate, and it actually affects the fans or the teammates. That's one good thing. I do believe that they have had this hidden in MyCareer over the years, because every time I praise my teammates seem to play better if I kept praising them time and time again. Maybe they just show us now that the teammate chemistry goes up when you talk positively about your teammates. But at the end of the day, there needs to be more interactions. After every single game back in the day, this was even before cutscenes. This was back in the day of 2K, I don't even know what one it was, 2K12 maybe, I don't know. But it was before cutscenes, and you actually had cutscenes after every single game media. You had a media panel where they asked you 1, 2, 3 questions. If you had a decent game, you were the player selected to go up on the panel. If you become the captain of the team, you'd go up on the panel every single time. You'd talk about it and they'd say, oh, LeBron James scored 23 points on your head tonight. How does that make you feel? And you'd have 4 answers. Now we're restricted to 2. See, back in the day we had 4 you could choose. 1, 2, 3 or 4 answers. One was a really aggressive, arrogant answer, one was a medium, one was a real positive answer, and you know what I mean? They had 4 different answers, and it felt like it actually affected the game. It created personality for your character because one was way more outrageous than the other ones. So if you wanted to be a real arrogant guy, you could pick that one. If you wanted to be a real nice professional guy, you could pick that one. It actually created a bit of character in your actual character. It created personality, and that's what it's really missing in these cutscenes in NBA 2K19. You can't say that they can't do this because they've done it previously. It's really a lack of effort that's really hurting this game, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's lack of lack of resources, because they've got plenty, whether it's lack of money actually going to the developer, whether it's manpower, whatever it is. You've done it before, so why are you slacking off now? But anyway guys, I've talked and raved long enough. Leave in the comments below any thoughts or opinions about 2K19 or any thoughts or fixes about 2K20 that you'd like to see implemented. Leave it all in the comments below. But anyway guys, I've talked and raved long enough. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch us later. Oh god.